Oh no. Welcome to paranormalxl podcast. I am your host Gigi, and you know the co-host that is like with me for like ever,
Mama Mary.
So Mama Mary, how's your uterus?
Oh, it's uterine away.
Uterus.
Uterus.
Mine's been acting up. I'm a little upset about it. That's a different conversation.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast.
Always is.
Uterus.
I've been yelling at my uterus all week. People have been looking at me really weird.
Well,
sometimes you need to give your parts some talk. Men should relate.
Well, yeah.
You gotta,
They have a prostate.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of like the same. I don't know. Is a prostate the same thing? Okay. What are we talking about today?
What's going on around here? Anyway, so our uteruses are doing all right. So getting back to our normal selves after 2 weeks of Jack the Ripper and uteruses and that type of thing. This week we are going to get into Helltown and why it is called Helltown.
It's kind of it's a really cool urban legend altogether. It's,
so
I like how
stories.
there's tons of stories and they find ways to debunk them too, but really interesting.
Yes.
It's, it was, what the thing that I find most interesting is they associated it with Children of the Corn.
Mm-hmm.
It come to find out Children
that.
of the Corn was really filmed in Iowa.
Yes.
But the story, the basic, ideas came from Helltown. So I thought that was a pretty cool fun fact. But it was founded in 1806 along with Boston Village.
You're taking my shit, man.
We'll talk your shit. We'll talk it. Go ahead. Go.
No, I was just going to start at the beginning as
go
what
ahead.
we do know. But you...
No, go ahead.
Go.
You go first.
No,
go.
Yeah.
You. Nope, go ahead.
Okay, so what we do know, Helltown is located in Ohio and is actually part of, can you pronounce it? Because I cannot.
The Summit County?
No, well, Summit County, yes, but it's...
the Sagamore Hills?
The Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah. What she just said. It's very odd. And I, even through some of the articles that I read through, like at the bottom it says like nobody can read it, right? Even when they were talking about when they did oh my gosh, what's that called? A documentary on the town, and the people that were supposed to be from that town couldn't even say it right. So yeah, it was part of Ohio, Summit County, northern Summit County, founded 1806, but it is now Boston, Ohio, or it was back then. Oldest village in Summit County. That's actually how it got its claim to fame, per se, to begin with back then, because it, like I said, was the oldest village in Summit County. First mill in Boston, Ohio was built in 1820. 1880, a railroad station was built, and the name Boston Mills stuck because all the mills that went in, particularly a paper mill,
yes,
if I remember correctly, was there. I do have some more, but I feel like I cut you off, and I
you said exactly what I was going to say, so keep going.
Oh, that's right, word.
Let's see. We know our shit.
Our uteruses are connected. So in 1974, President Ford signed legislation that led the National Park Services to buy the land and use it for national parks. December 27th, 1974, hundreds of acres were designated to the National Recreation Area. So what that really meant is that these homeowners and farm owners and whatnot that lived in that area didn't even know really, because it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Like, it was right underneath their noses. Oh, shit, we gotta go.
Yep, all of a sudden they're being kicked out of their homes.
Anymore. Yeah, it was, yeah. That's kind of sad.
It kind of is. It's sad that government could just do that.
Yeah.
Just sign some papers and
Boom.
tell you gotta leave. You're done.
Yeah. Well, not even, they didn't even get like a 30-day notice. Like, at least give them that.
That's why I think it's so interesting, because the town literally looked like all of a sudden everybody
Yeah.
left overnight.
Mhm.
I think that's what made the town so fascinating as a ghost town, was that the appearance that all of a sudden something happened, catastrophic, and
Yeah,
they
let's
had
say
to leave at the last minute.
Yeah, you just drove through like 3 months ago going, or I don't know, horse and buggy maybe? I don't know. 3 months ago to see your grandmama, and then you come back and you're like, what the hell? So then
Mhm.
there's houses, they're all boarded up saying, do not enter, do not trespass. And then you had some that they designated to the fire departments around.
Mm-hmm.
So they use them for practice. So then you go
Yeah.
through this town that some of these houses are burnt down. Other ones are all boarded up. It's just completely deserted. And
It's
you're
creepy.
like, what in the hell? So
Yeah,
That's
buses
what
in the middle
happened,
of
but-
woods, and
yeah, and then, yeah. So I can totally understand where the urban legends came from, because that is a fun story. And then to be able to send somebody there, oh man, if you're to Helltown, if you go there, this is what you're going to see. And then to have, that would be freaky, to kids, teenagers, but even as adults, if you didn't.
it would be fun. Yeah.
A fun story to go with that location. However, most of the stories were debunked, which is always fun too. Little side note, one of the homeowners left a little message on a wall, and it said, "Now we know how the Indians felt.
Mm-hmm.
Burn. They needed some aloe for that burn."
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, ouch. Let's see that. But with all that being said, the government, because they wanted to completely demolish it. The government got in over their head, and they couldn't keep up with the demolishing of the houses and kind of making it all go away. So it sat there like that. They had to close off the roads that led into. I mean, why wouldn't there be stories with that?
Well, yeah, because it creates a whole mystery to itself.
Yes.
Even though there
exactly.
were some paranormal stories that could not be debunked.
Right, yes, I have heard that. See, the first fun name after the government took over the land was Mutant Town.
Yeah.
Okay, so where that came from is 1985. The MPS acquired. I can't pronounce words. Creaky Dump. The park rangers that visited the dump became sick and had rashes. Well, it was soon learned that the toxic chemicals that had been dumped, they were not dumped properly, which left that area polluted.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to these gentlemen. Of course, we hear the stories of people that were left in the area and now they're mutilated and, so on and so forth. And then some people, they'll say that it was a chemical spill, but it wasn't really a chemical spill. It's just
They disposed of them, but they didn't do it correctly.
It was wrong. So the people that were going and I don't know what they were doing. Maybe they were surveying out there, whatever. They were the park rangers, looking around. They became sick, and that's why, once they investigated as to why it wasn't, that there was, a nuclear power plant just, burned down, and everybody grew, a third eye. And
sort of like The Stand, where the Stephen King movie,
okay.
where the chemical plant releases the plague, and everybody just, disappears at the last minute.
Yeah, that's scary.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's scary. That took a turn. Of course, the story of the Satanic Church.
Yes.
There's actually two churches there, but the Satanic Church. Okay, I can see where they would fly like that, because in Hastings, the middle school was always said to be blah, 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 because it had upside-down crosses. But that time era that those buildings were built was the Gothic time era. So
That's true.
the Gothic architecture bled over into that, and that's why it's like that. It was not intentional. I'm pretty sure, do Satan worshippers have churches? Aren't they called something else?
I don't know. I would have to
I couldn't see there being
look it up.
A temple or,
probably some kind of temple, but I wouldn't call it a church. But they say in one of the churches, there's the evil guy that lives in the basement. He doesn't let people in the church. My thought to that, though, is, okay, if the town's abandoned, how are people going to go to church anyway? Because the way it was worded, he won't let people in to go to church.
Right.
I'm like, okay, wait a minute, though. There's a debunk for you, but it's sort of like that, where even when they talk about that place at the top of the hill, that a group of satanic people will circle the car and push people over the edge.
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? Yeah, I do have a list of all those,
Yeah.
and then the myths, and then what really is going on. I said that church's name is Mother of Sorrows. So it's kind of I wouldn't necessarily, maybe it was not a yay, everything's sunshine type of church, but I definitely wouldn't just go out and call it
Satanic?
Yeah, it was just a satanic town. Oh my god. No, then you got these mutants running around, and they're
playing on buses in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, the stories are a lot of fun.
Playing in the corn.
Well, yeah, you gotta play in the corn. That's a given. The cemetery, of course, those residents didn't have to move, clearly, when the land got whatever, so they were left behind. So, of course, you're gonna hear, like, sweet, awesome stories of that. That I would like to see.
Yeah.
The cemetery.
It does sound pretty interesting. Even though they did debunk some of the legend of, you know, where it's located and how it looks, but they stated that it was pretty close to what they've heard.
Right, yeah.
Even the spirit that's in there.
I just love cemeteries anyway, so to see one that's got that type of history to it would
that kind of energy.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to say, the scary bus story. You heard the bus story. That story isn't actually scary. We'll go ahead and tell the scary part of it.
Well, the legend they tell is, but they have like 4 different legends. It's either a mental patient escaped, it's a serial killer, or the kids got hit in the bus and they all died, but they're all placed on this bus together. So there's like a couple of different stories where the serial killer killed all the kids, the mental patient did, or they got in an accident on the bus. But supposedly there's the bus that's in the middle of the woods where you can hear the children crying and making moaning sounds and in the middle of the night out of nowhere.
Yes. And then in reality, that bus was home to a man and his family. Not home, but they were getting renovations done on their home. And to wait to get it done, they stayed on that bus. And that's that.
Well, literally, there was no seats on the bus.
No.
They had completely emptied it, made it into like a little home.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other legend behind it was, you know, people had completely tried to remove the bus over and over again. And every time someone tried to take the bus out, something bad would happen to them and they'd die.
Right. It is gone now, by the way. So you cannot go see the bus. But, yeah.
It's an interesting story.
That's fun that all the kids got murdered. I mean, that's not fun. What is wrong with me?
It's the uterus thing.
My damn uterus. Anyway, so yeah.
But another interesting fact about the cemetery is they claim that trees move.
Okay.
So even if they say they have said exactly, they have said they haven't really been able to debunk it because trees move. Especially when the wind blows and stuff. Yeah. But they haven't been able to prove it or disprove it.
You hear sirens? Oh, shit. They're on to us.
Our uteruses!
Run! Grab your uterus and run!
I get a visual. You're just picking everything up and running with it.
Holding our mama guts. Come on, uterus!
I got you.
With me.
I got you back.
Okay, this is not funny. So, serious face. A person did take their own life in an abandoned house in 2004 in that area. One of the abandoned houses. Yes. Cool. Which, you know, leaves more stories to circulate. I do that a lot.
Well, just like the hill they're talking about. What is it? The End of the World hill?
Yeah.
Where they claim that you can go up it. And then they say it's the end of the world because a lot of people have gotten into accidents on there. But it's so steep that once you get to the top, you can't see anything else. And it does feel like it's the end of the world. And their claim is that probably just a lot of people have gone up it really fast and because they're stupid and crashed.
Yes. Yes. What the heck?
And the only reason they had the road closed signs is because each sign ends up meeting to the same road, but they're only closed off because they're so bad that they're treacherous to drive on.
They are because they're part of the forest area that they don't maintain it.
Yeah,
because they don't have to. It's supposed to be torn down. The stories are very.
Well, I love it because the stories are creepy and
they are creepy.
They're fascinating, and it's kind of like a really good ghost story to sit around a campfire with, you know? But it's also good to have the truth, too.
Oh, for sure.
The one truth they did find is the house isn't technically in the woods, but the house they talk about that's in the woods that has a light on every night. That is true. But it was a hostel for, you know, people that needed a place to stay.
Yes.
And I'm not really sure what kind of light it was, but it's a light that's meant to stay on as a beckoning call that you have a place to stay.
Yes.
So while it's true that there is a house in the middle of the woods that has a light on, that's why.
Yes.
But it's still cool to picture a dark house in the creepy ass woods
story.
with a
Great Halloween story. Oh shoot. Oh, there was another one about a slaughterhouse. Actually, it's a barn.
Yeah.
It's just a barn.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Well, it derives from, because they also said it's also supposed to be the funeral home too.
Okay,
but what it derives from is one of the original people that lived in that house. He was also a butcher. He didn't have a business per se, but if you had something you wanted butchered. You could bring it to him and he would. But it's where it came from. But that's what the truth of it is.
Right. Yeah. I did read that where it said there was more than just pigs and cows that got slaughtered. Like, what? So this town's just going around killing each other, or
I know, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it very much so. There was another one about a hearse.
Yes,
the guy with the hearse. Which there was a guy that had a hearse in that area.
Well, it's true. But it was only on Halloween night.
Right.
They would bring it out, and they would. Yeah. It was like a joke thing,
entertainment type purposes. Yeah. How fun.
It would be kind of fun. Isn't it crazy how people build on those stories?
Oh my god, like, some of these are absolutely insane. I do have a list here.
But it does. It just makes Helltown fascinating.
It does. I would like to go see maybe what's left. I know that they get kind of
mad.
Yeah, and it's because people aren't respectful of it. Like, if you were to go there just for the history of it, and just be quiet, look around, don't go out there and party. That's still land. People live there. Mm-hmm. That kind of ruins it for the rest of us. That'd be cool. Because it's really not, I mean, it would be like a half a day drive for us. And I think it would be totally worth it and fun to go.
The people there still are people that live by the cemetery, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, you have to be careful. Damn youngsters.
No respect.
The uteruses aren't matured yet.
That's right. And their prostates.
Man, I don't know which direction this podcast is going, but boy, is it fun.
Hey. All right.
So, okay. Some of the legends of Helltown. So, we got a government conspiracy, which clearly because they say that it was a huge chemical spill that... Damn sunners. A chemical spill that made all these mutants... Where'd all these mutants go, though? Were they just there one day and then left too, or?
I don't know.
So
maybe they're at what's that alien base?
Stereo
51.
I was gonna say Stereo 54, but isn't that Studio 54?
That's Studio. It could be there too. You never know.
Wow. I'm not for sure. I'm off today because this is not our normal day to record. So I'm like, as always, like I'm making an excuse.
That's all right.
That's dumb. This is just who I am as a person.
It is what it is.
All over the place, all the time. So, the legend, the government cover up to, hide the fact that they spilled deadly chemicals in the area. The chemicals caused bizarre mutations to the residents and their children. So, when I picture that, I picture like The Hills Have Eyes.
I know, I was just thinking the same thing.
Or Waterheads.
Even though that was based on some true events.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like...
It actually was. I'm pretty sure not the whole movie was, but,
So, in this one, it does not say... So I got a thing that says the truth. It does not say anything about the dump and whatnot. So I did not really get more into that.
Yeah, all I really got from it was it was a part of the dump, and there's men who are going there and they were picking up like old bottles from that space, and that's where they started experiencing it. And when they came in and they tested the ground, there was chemicals there.
That would I can see where an urban legend would start from there. Then you see what I'm saying? Because there was something there. It wasn't like that, but it had a place to stem from. But in the truth of this, it's saying that there was nothing ever records show that there was never a chemical spill in the area. Says these stories were likely attempts to explain U.S. government signs on the abandoned buildings. Okay, yeah, Yes, there was signs on the government or on the abandoned buildings, but that's because they left because it was getting turned into a forest thing in a park. But that doesn't explain where that story stemmed from. You know what I mean? Where I can believe the dump story. Even if they were to touch something that
it would make sense only because back then there was really ways of you were supposed to dispose of anything. So
right. So when you come across something that it's not saying that they died or got mutilated, but it bothered their skin. You know, I got shampoo that does that, or soaps. You know what I mean?
True.
Like it's nothing. Clearly, it's got blown off, but but it started. I wonder
how they got the idea that they wanted this to be a national park. And where that even came from. Like, maybe in your mind's eye, why would you output why would many?
Well, it was a movement back then to preserve these lands and stuff, but I'm not for sure why they would try to preserve a land that was already developed on.
Well, yeah.
That was my question.
Kicking people out of their homes.
Yeah. Like, that's not okay. It's just not okay. The cemetery, the legend. Local cemetery is haunted by a ghost that sits on a bench and just stares. And
they said, it's weird that a legend would just describe a ghost as doing nothing but staring, but they haven't been able to debunk it. And they've had people who have had... They've listened to several different accounts of people saying the same exact thing.
Yes.
And so we can't really debunk that one. We just don't see why I would just do that, but maybe that's just what it's doing, I guess.
Right. Maybe he's confused. He got kicked out of his home, his land. He's confused. What the hell? He hasn't crossed over. I'd probably do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and interestingly, it doesn't have a bench.
Oh, well,
so it's a ghost bench as well.
That is an interesting fact.
I like having a ghost bench. There's your trees in the cemetery moving.
Yeah.
The truth, not for sure there is a truth. Okay, this is a funny story. Funny story. They say, I guess this would go with the legend, that the satanic cult calls the trees to move. It was a curse. That they cursed it.
Yeah, I read that. That's kind of funny.
To protect the cult's secrets.
That's why the road signs are up. Mm-hmm. To block to protect them where
they're
at.
Look, I did my research. Still don't know a whole lot. But with people that worship Satan, they're not bad people. I'm probably going to get so hated for this, but they live, their motto, let's say, I'm saying this, what's the term, loosely, is you live once, so enjoy it. They're not out there sacrificing children. And if they are, that's not Satanism, that's something else.
Oh, yeah.
They're just mentally insane. They need to be locked up somewhere.
That's true.
I don't go that way. I do, however, know people that do. And they're some of the nicest people they would help me probably before some of my family would.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't talk about it. A lot of people don't talk about religions.
You just leave it as it is.
Yeah. It is what it is. Do I like you as a person? Yep. Cool. But you can have your beliefs on the side.
Yep.
I think I'm not... That could totally go a completely different way, and please, listeners, don't hate me for even saying that, but freaking car. Yeah, Satanism isn't... Clearly, we don't all agree on it, but we don't have to.
That's true.
If we agreed on everything, the world wouldn't go around the way that it does. Not saying that it goes around real perfect, but anyway, I'm rambling. That's okay. But
okay.
I just want to get that point across. Like, I don't know. Like, Wiccans and pagans consistently get pegged as Satan worshippers. I'm like, what in the actual hell? Because most of them don't even believe in Satan.
Nope, they don't.
It's, what? Yeah. I don't get it. I know there's a thin line in all religions.
I think it's just because you get the people who don't educate themselves. They just assume. They go by what they hear.
Educate yourself and live by fear. Mm-hmm. And that scares you, so you don't even research it. I at least research it. It scares the shit out of me. But I know that's in my head. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know that there's more to this. People wouldn't just go in believing in something if it's just all this horrific things that society's made us believe. Mm-hmm. I posted something on the Facebook the other day that I felt deep in my uterus. It said something about society wants you to live blah, 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 but I live in my own fantasy land, blah, blah, blah. Facebook stalk me, you'll see it. I really felt that. And it made sense, although I can't remember exactly word for word. All I know is it said something about society making you think a certain way. Mm-hmm. But I live in my own fantasy world, and I'm going to stay here because it makes me happy.
That's right.
Anyway. Off of Satanism.
Moving on.
And ooh, that was a big swig. The wind. The The Boston Cemetery has graves of a large number of children who were all killed in a bus accident. Okay, as we know, there was no bus accident because the bus was... What bus accident? That should say incident, probably. Well, the bus wasn't crashed. Well, it was still all full,
there's accounts that said it was an accident, and then some say it was a mental patient who overtook the bus and killed all the kids, and then it was a serial killer.
That'd be a lot of bodies to carry off and whatnot, and then taking out the seats and blah, 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 blah. So that one clearly, fun story, yeah, but not true.
Yeah, no.
Negatory, the house in the woods. Yes, there's a house in the woods where a light appears upstairs. It's a lodging house for young travelers. It's a hostel, like you said. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. It stays on 24 hours a day because they accept that 24 hours a day. In America, hostels aren't as known as like over in Europe and stuff where you got people backpacking all over and whatnot. Like, we wouldn't do that here. That's scary in America.
America.
In America. I'll protect your ears, America.
Freedom of speech.
I love it. So,
you boo-hag.
Yeah, you boo-hag. Oh my God, Destiny saw like this creature on TV that she's like, Mom, what is that? I was like, I'm pretty sure it's a boo-hag. And I'm going on, living my best life, watching this show, and then she's still looking at me like this. What do you want from me, Des? Come on. So, yeah, there is a house there. Somebody has a hostel there, and I think that's great. That gives people a safe haven to go to and during their travels.
I don't know. After that movie, The Hostel, I don't know if I'd want to stay at one.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, sometimes I do not. I didn't finish that movie.
Oh.
Because I'm like...
It's a good movie, but it's creepy. It's creepy that there might be some truth to that, so... Moving on.
The school bus. Yeah, the bus load. Children. Slaughtered. Woods. Serial killer. A band of serial killers.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
That's... Whatever. So, okay, the bus, bottom line, the bus was used to house a family.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they could wait for their house to be done, and clearly they got kicked out of everything, so they never got to move out, like, to their new house. And that's kind of sad.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't get to finish that off.
Yeah. The church. Church is, I guess I should say. Local churches are used to cover for cults. Okay, you could say that anywhere, though.
Well, yeah, you could.
Because there is a town still there. It's just right next to where Helltown was.
Just like, I'm not sure if there's truth to this. I have read it somewhere that there's truth. Like the Masonic Temple, that's a satanic cult. But I don't know if that's true. I would have to look it up. I have heard it. I remember watching it going, really? Because you see their symbol that they have is a symbol of that. And it's an upside down pinnacle. That's how you tell the difference in a pentagram, whether it's just spiritual or if it's devil worshiping. If you turn it upside down and it looks like a goat,
yeah,
that's there's symbolism for that.
I think next week our episode should be on Satanism.
Sure, yeah, I'm game. Yeah, why not?
We're getting into the holidays. Let's talk about Satanism. But there's nothing. Don't fear it because it. Okay, I'm gonna save it.
Well, it'd be good. It'd be good to compare the different types of religions, where I guarantee when you compare all of them, you're going to find some truth. That's one final truth.
Yeah. We hold on to that little piece that we can relate to. So that's why you hold on to those types of religions. I
think religion's there to create faith because faith raises our vibrations and faith, when our vibrations are raised, that brings love. And that's like the whole point of wholeness of community is that connection, Right. That's what faith is for. It doesn't matter which path you're walking as long as you have faith.
Right, as long as you have a path.
Exactly.
Just agreed. I don't...
Path of higher truth and belonging. Everybody has a place.
Words place fear in human beings. I hate that. We need to get past that because, not just Satanism. Yeah, that sounds scary as shit. Believe me, I was raised that way. I know. Until I started researching it, it's not something I'll just go around saying.
Well, we're raised to feel guilty for having any kind of thoughts or ideas about different ways, and it takes a while to uncondition ourselves, and that's normal. We are raised in a Christian community, So even if you don't go to church every day, you're still raised in those beliefs. You see it on TV. No matter where you go, you see that. If we were raised in watching paganism all the time, we believe in that. Mm-hmm. It's what we're conditioned to watch. That's why a lot of times I watch what I want to watch. I don't watch what TV wants me to watch, and I don't watch the news. I don't want to be conditioned to what I should be thinking. I want my own opinion.
I got the Netflix.
Yep, that's right. So, we slowly uncondition ourselves.
That's true.
And the strongest of people search out their own truths.
To be able to make your own decisions and choose your own path.
And just like when you talk about, Reiki, there's no way people can heal you with Reiki, but yet you believe in the Bible when it talks about Jesus healing with his hands. You can't tell me you believe in that, but you tell me that you find it impossible for anybody here to heal with their hands. You're a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all people are nowadays is hypocrites. I mean, I am too. I just deal with it differently.
I believe in Jesus without a doubt. I believe that he did that. Yes, I know there was a Jesus, but I also know that he was there to give those gifts to everybody else.
Right. He's not the stopping line.
Yeah,
that's where the religion.
You can't take this piece and throw away the rest. It doesn't work that way.
Right, but that's. Like I've said in the past, people stop. Mm-hmm. They get to the truth that they're okay with, and it's not that they can comprehend. As soon as they can't comprehend something, they stop. And then, nope, it stops at Jesus.
And I think that's where, like, the urban legends things come from, is, you see the truth in something, but then you can't explain the rest, so let's make some stuff up.
Yeah, let's make it fun.
Exactly.
Throw your ears in it.
Put your own twister in it.
Shit. We have so much fun.
I know. I know.
Oh, I can't wait until next week. Not that I'm excited about talking about Satanism, but I just because of the cults that go into it, there was like the 70s or 80s craze, satanic craze that people went nuts over. This is going to be good. I'm going to have to research all week on this one. Just because, like I said, some people I know, I don't talk to them every day. I wouldn't consider them best friends, but acquaintances per se, I do know that they go that way. Do I? No, I don't because I don't because I'm going to tell you next week why.
There you go.
Because it goes right back to society and how my brain has been trained.
We'll have to tune in. Well, just like when they're talking about Helltown and they're talking about, well, nobody can go to these churches because the devil worshippers have taken over. Okay, but nobody lives in the town.
The Bible says the devil was an angel too.
Yeah, but nobody lives in these towns to go to church anyway, so why the hell does it matter?
Right. Well, there is one still going, but that's in the actual town that's like...
Right next to it.
Yeah, the town that's up and going. So yeah, back to church. The church is never open for mass. This is the myth. Well, duh. If you're going to that one that's been completely closed down, well,
you can't go.
But there is a church in that town,
functioning.
in the town that's next to it, that is up and going. Like, it's the Boston Community Church. But I want to say that one, the Boston Community Church, is the one that's got the man in the basement.
Yeah,
that's referred to as man in the basement. I just can't even a group. That it says a group of devil worshippers own the church. There's always candles burning in the church, even at night. But even in Catholic churches, they do that.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you go in there, you light a candle for whatever reason you need to light a candle in that type of church. And then upside down crosses. Again, that comes down to the time era. You could really make any straight lines into an upside down cross if you look at it right.
Even people make the claims that, they looked into the windows of the church and jumped back because they seen faces staring at them. Well, if the church was in session and you're creeping through their window, you probably would jump back if they spotted you. So the claim in itself is silly, especially with the man in the basement, because it's full of classrooms and just different kinds of rooms. Like it's like a local place that everybody goes.
Right.
So anyway. It's just funny.
I got to the hearse one here. Talking about the hearse, just like we said before, it was, that it was a family that owned it. They brought it out at Halloween. But there's accounts of people saying that this vehicle, the hearse, had a headlight out, chased them through town, and another one that said we tried to follow the hearse, but it vanished. Yeah, it's fun. The truth is, like I said, it belonged to a family they brought out Halloween. Shits and giggles. But with that being said, it's kind of impossible to get through that way because of the gates and road being closed that a hearse would not be able to navigate or go through that area, that stretch of road.
Yeah, because it's for one, it's heavily wooded. You can't get through it.
Well, right. They don't maintain that road. They just don't. It's part of the land now, if you will. Oh, then there's the end of the world thing that you said. Evil awaits for those at the end of the road at night. The road's possessed.
Hold on to your uteruses.
Yeah. Just don't go down the road. I don't understand. An evil force will try to take control of your car and force you to crash.
That's called stupidity.
It is. Kids having fun and that don't know when to stop.
A group of robe Satanists will help your car and push it down. I like how it talks about them being robed. Can't they just wear normal clothes?
Well, no. Actually, I'm going to get a hold of one of the people I know, and I'm going to see if I can get an interview with him. Whether he come and record with us, or I can do a Skype with him and then put it in.
Interesting.
Just to see, because he's still learning through it. But he's one of the nicest guys. Just a very gentle soul. But he believes in some other ways as far as, okay, I got this one time on Earth. I'm going to make it about me.
Yeah, everybody has their own thing.
It isn't about sacrificing baby lambs or children or anything like that.
And for me, I feel like I know my way, I know my belief, and I feel like we keep on reincarnating so that we can have different experiences and grow and learn because we become more powerful. Mm-hmm. Our inner magic becomes stronger or more powerful. Yeah. And that could be that at one time we've all lived that kind of life. Where maybe this is just his lifetime to live that life.
Right. He's at that level. We're at a different one because we experience different things in different lifetimes. My uterus. So the end of the world, don't go down that road.
Yeah, so.
Bottom line. Oh, highway to hell. What? This is a new one. Serial killer with an axe.
Oh.
Butchering people that try to drive down that road.
I think this is like the other end of that one road.
Police are unable to
catch him.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Do not drive down the highway to hell at night.
That's a good song.
Highway to hell. They're crazy people who hide in the woods. That's what it says.
It's probably the people who are creeping out trying to find the ghosts.
Yeah, they're just trying to be like, what the hell's going on here? Maybe they're stranded. They're not jumping out at you trying to scare you. Jesus. Yeah, it's the same road. That is I think it's like
just the other end of it.
Yeah, the dead end roads. Yep. The slaughterhouse, like I said, that one is... It was a barn. Mm-hmm. It was never an official slaughterhouse, but like Mama Mary said, it was used... The guy would butcher meat that needed to be done. No different than what we do now when people process their own deers.
That's true. It's hunting season, so that's what they do. They get their deer, they take it to somebody who will process it for them.
Exactly. Ooh, there's an abandoned... Oh, that's the funeral home. Abandoned funeral home. That's the cemetery.
It's the same place.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah, but it says cult members will chase you.
Yeah, they just made the story up. It's never been a funeral home and it's never been a slaughterhouse. They just made the house is still there.
Yeah.
And people will get ticked if you go up by their house because it's literally they're living in it. Mm-hmm. And it pisses them off.
Stop pissing people off, people. Jeez.
Get your shit together.
Yeah. I'd just like to go see the history, get some pictures.
Yeah.
When I think about that location, I feel a lot of sadness just because those people were pushed out of their homes.
Yeah.
I don't feel any...
And I think that's where the conspiracy theory comes up from, with the government.
I can completely... I'm not saying that that's what I believe, that's what it is, but I could see where that would stem from.
Yeah, it would pop up like that just because...
Oh, for sure. The government can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
That's just,
at the end of the day.
We just got to face it and learn to live our life around it because no matter what we say, I mean, you'll look like a crazy person on TV if you try to go, do whatever. But anyway, again, a whole different podcast. Why do I feel the need to do it with my voice sometimes? Like I'm a cheesy talk show person. Come on down
to the paranormal's right.
I just can't even anymore. Here's your Children of the Corn one. That's fun. Again, satanic props. What? Okay. I just can't.
Well, it's funny that the idea that satanic props were left there because it wasn't recorded there. So, Ohio was pretty far away from Ohio.
It
I mean, it's not
is.
horribly far away. Like, it's not like
But it's
California
enough.
far away, but it's far enough away.
It's enough, and it's completely different. I lived in Iowa for like 5 years of my life. Nothing but cornfields, hence Children of the Corn. You know what other movie? Oh my God, what's that movie? This big scary guy.
Jeepers Creepers?
Yep. Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those beepers? I lived in Iowa when that came out. Holy shit. And I'd be driving home at nighttime, driving through the cornfields. That's what you do. About every 5 miles, there's a little town. We lived in Roland at the time, but I'd have to drive from Story City to Roland. I'm going like 120, no lie, because I'm like, nothing's gonna get me.
I'm gonna turn on my radio.
Yeah, it was scary. It was so
That was kind of a
scary.
creepy movie.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
movie, but creepy.
Yeah, that one actually scared me. Most horror stories or scary movies nowadays, it's just gore. And I'm not about the gore. Or this truck. Where the hell is he? It's a ghost truck.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my God.
Oh.
I love how you're starting to do the dun-dun-duns.
Coming to steal our uteruses.
We don't even need sound effects because we make our own. Boom. Yeah, that was an explosion.
A funniness.
Yeah. Boom, bitches. So, yeah, satanic activity warnings. Again, we're gonna save that for, like, next week. Ghostly AAA.
That's funny.
You want to touch that one?
Oh,
I don't get to
gosh.
hear you talk very
Well,
often. I need to
it's
warm up my toes.
This one was like the Crybaby Bridge.
Yeah.
And like literally every state probably has like 10 of them, where if you park there, you're going to get dust on your car, and you're going to find footprints and handprints all over from the bridge from the children that have died. And it's funny because, researching this yesterday when I was sitting here doing absolutely nothing, I watched Ghost Hunters over and over again. Yeah. And they actually had like a series where they went through and they debunked like the urban legend type thing. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But they had the same kind of place where, and it showed it that if you parked your car in a certain place and you just put it in neutral, you would find yourself being pushed across the railroad tracks.
Okay.
And the legend was that, a bus full of children.
Always with the children.
Was on the railroad tracks, and it stalled when a train hit them. And that when you put your car in neutral in that spot, it's all those little children pushing your car over the railroad tracks.
It's a really sweet story,
and it kind of is. But then my mind I'm starting to watch this. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, though. It could just go downhill, because you do have those places. We have one in Michigan where you put it in neutral and it feels like you're going, backwards up the hill, but it's just because it's an optical illusion, so to speak. Yeah. And besides the fact that if that was the case, that's not the case with the bus, because the bus would have rolled the same way.
Right.
And so what they did, it was funny because some locals were there, and they were coming to see if it happened. So they videotaped them doing it too, and they put baby powder all over the car.
Oh yeah.
And they watched it. It did it. It went by itself. They put it in neutral and it went by itself. Right. And they followed it and they checked, and you could see, little fingerprints and, there were fingerprints and handprints. Really? So what they did was they took half of the back of their truck and they washed half of it with Blindex completely clean. Right. Left the other because obviously it's going to have fingerprints on it and mark prints from closing the trunk. Right. Put the baby powder all over it. Put it in neutral, and they did. They went right across it. And then went down and they checked it out. But on one side where they didn't wash, there were handprints and fingerprints. On the other side, there was nothing. So dust from the car, they debunked that part, obviously. It picked up on their handprints from the car. And then they had, oh gosh, I'm not even going to say it right because I know I'm not. Welcome to the club. But the excavators that come in and they take measurements of the roads. Yep. They measure the road, and it was a slight dip. Okay. Downhill. You just couldn't tell because it was an optical illusion. And like by the time you went like 100 feet, you dropped like a full foot. Okay. Like in the road, but you just couldn't tell. So that's why people would park there.
Roads are optical illusions. Have you ever saw it looked like a small hill, and then you look in your rearview mirror and it looks like it's a fucking mountain?
Yeah. It is. And it's the same thing. You did go far downhill, it just didn't feel like it. Right. Because of the gentleness of it. Yeah. So I feel like their Crybaby Bridge is kind of like the same thing, where they get out of it and they lock the door and they take their keys with them, and they come back and there's prints all over it and the car's been moved. Well, no, you probably were on an incline and,
just
you
the
see what you
normal
want to
dust
see.
or whatever. Yeah, you're... Yeah.
So it's sort of like that thing. It's kind of a good idea to it, but it just I remember watching that show yesterday, and then I was researching that. I'm like, oh, interesting that you see both of that together.
Yeah,
there is paranormal out there without a doubt, but you can't just believe everything because you read it. You got to see for yourself.
And ultimately, the paranormal isn't going to be scary stuff like these stories either. To me,
no.
And from investigating like we have, their spirits trying to communicate. They don't want to be mean. They're not going to they're not... I just can't even right now.
Well, everybody loves a good ghost story, but
yes, and it's a fun story.
When spirit is causing issues for you, it's not because they're trying to scare you or hurt you. They want to be heard. So just sit there and listen.
Right.
And most times, if you do acknowledge, it usually goes away.
Mm-hmm. Or you can come to some kind of understanding with them so they're not going to scare you anymore.
That's right.
You can live there in harmony together. Because that could have been their house 100 years ago.
Well, that's right.
But they still want to be there because they're not ready to cross over. I don't know.
And sometimes spirit has crossed over. They just want to be there with us. It's just energy.
Yeah. We're just hanging out, man.
That's right.
Just hanging out. That's funny. I'm like, that's funny. And then there's people, with their stories that have gone out there. Yeah. If you have a chance, look up some of the personal stories that people have wrote into some of these other web pages and whatnot. They're interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, all in all.
Oh, for sure. So, remember to keep your ears in check. Remember to share the podcast on your social media. Remember to share the podcast on your social media. Subscribe on whatever app you're listening on. Subscribe. So then you don't got to worry about missing an episode because they're all so freaking different.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why.
So
they're different,
fun.
all right.
They are. Subscribe. Have your family and friends subscribe. Even if they're not, I don't know, you don't got to be like us. But I like to say that we kind of hit everything from every point of view.
Well, yeah.
If,
it's a topic. It's not a way of life.
Right.
It's just funny.
I'm like, what? We're just funny. Paranormal's funny.
We're just shit together. Funny. We're funny.
Sometimes. Depends on who you ask, I do believe.
Well, if you ask us, we are.
Uh-huh. Hey, and also email us if you think we're funny or if you think we're not funny.
or if we're just like crazy.
So. Yeah, crazy. I'll take crazy shit.
At least my jeans. Listening.
You have
crazy jeans?
I do. We are so matching today. It's great. We're going to take some photos and we'll put them online because that's what I do. Yeah. Everything's just a good time. You really need to email us. Yeah. And subscribe. Also on the YouTube. Not that... I'm trying to find the way to do it so we don't lose out on the whole podcasting thing because that's essentially where I wanted to see this go, stay at strictly podcasting. People like to watch things, like I said before. So we may put, teasers out, that type of thing. Not the whole episode, clearly. We'll leave, the suspenseful stuff for the end type of thing.
Yeah.
So make sure you subscribe, even to YouTube subscribe. Just subscribe. I can't say that very often. Some of those YouTubers do. They're like, subscribe to, and I'm like, use. So again, email us. And thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you all so very much. So awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we will be back next week with some with some more fun paranormal topics, which we already know because we just decided what it is. So yeah, and also remember, don't yuck someone else's yum.
Ever.
This